a day. What a Monday,
I'm
everyone.
so excited
Thanks
about
for
this
joining
show.
us today.
I can't believe I have to do this. I've made a prepared statement.
Wow.
I love this.
What?
I'd like to officially congratulate the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen for not only avenging their playoff loss last year, but for also clearly becoming the class of the AFC over my Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, respectively. The Bills played a truly brilliant game on both sides of the ball. Defensively, they held the Chiefs to 20 points in Arrowhead. They forced Mahomes into 2 incredibly uncharacteristic interceptions, including a stomach-churning red zone pick that took points off the board.
Stomach churning.
Allen, on the other hand,
My stomach.
threw for more than 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and had the wow play of the year when he channeled Edwin Moses and leapt over a Chiefs defender for a first down.
I said, wow.
After admittedly being obsessed with the Chiefs and building an entire team with the Chiefs in mind, the Bills have clearly proven they've done just that. The Bills now have a 2-game lead on Kansas City in the race for the number 1 seed. It's very difficult to see how the AFC playoffs, previously known as the Arrowhead Invitational, don't go through Buffalo this year. This is the Bills team that fans in upstate New York have been waiting a lifetime for. Meanwhile, the best days for the Chiefs appear to be behind them.
Wow.
Luckily, I wrote this last year because that's exactly what happened last year. And it means nothing,
knew it was-
America.
I knew it
20
was too
points,
good to be true.
3 touchdowns from Josh Allen. Oh, he leapt over a Chief. Where have I seen that before? Oh, that exact script last year. You know what, Brew? I feel better about the Chiefs today than I did on Friday.
No, you don't.
On Friday, you want to know the truth? I was a little worried the Bills' offense
clearly.
might look unstoppable. Instead, 24 points against backup corners with our secondary getting healthy, with Willie Gay coming back off suspension. Missed a kick. Mahomes threw 2 picks. When's that going to happen again? Not come the playoffs. So, yeah, I've seen that story before, my friends. The Bills roll into Arrowhead and kick the Chiefs' ass. Except this time they didn't. They won a nail-biter. And the Chiefs are not even whole. Please. So congrats, Buffalo. Now they are the 2-time Super Bowl champs because that's their Super Bowl and they've won it 2 years in a row. But it's not the real Super Bowl, so I feel fine, Brew.
Wow.
That's the answer.
What a
That's
turn.
exactly
I like
what
that.
happened
You like
last
that?
year.
Yeah,
Except,
I like showmanship.
go ahead.
I was watching the game with my dad, and I said to him after Patrick Mahomes' interception, game-sealing interception, I said, if the Chiefs would have won, Nick was going to be unbearable, insufferable.
Yeah.
And you managed to still be unbearable and insufferable.
I told you
What are
beforehand.
I like the humble Nick, the one that started the show giving the Bills their props. What is this? Look, Nick, I'm going to answer the question and answer you as well.
Thank you.
It was, did they cement themselves as the best team in the AFC? No. They cemented themselves as the best team in the NFL.
Wow.
Take that,
because
Philly.
these are the
Twists and
two.
turns in this show.
These are the 2 best teams. I'll give you that. The Chiefs and the Bills are the 2 best teams in football. And the Bills marched into Arrowhead. They went to the Chiefs' home and took their lunch money.
Chiefs on a short
Threw
week.
them up against the wall
Stop.
and took their lunch money.
Short week.
Short week because of Monday.
No short
Short
weeks
week.
at all. None at all. Look,
Have you had the 4 o'clock game? So it's like.
Nick, here's the difference, and I told you this last week.
Yeah, tell me.
The difference is the defense. And I'll give you the
Defense played well.
The Chiefs' defense played very well.
Yeah.
But the Bills' defense is better. Because when it was crunch time, Josh Allen and the Bills' offense marched 76 yards in 4.5 minutes.
It's a great drive.
And 12 plays, right? So the Chiefs couldn't stop them when they needed to. But the Bills, of course, stopped the Chiefs when they needed to. And here's the difference. Because last year, the Bills had the best-ranked defense in the league, right? And couldn't stop them when they needed to. But the difference is Von Miller, period. Because who was the guy putting pressure on Mahomes and forcing him left to throw that bad interception? It was Von Miller.
He's the best player
That's
on the field
the difference.
No doubt about it.
And that's what I think will make the difference if they meet in the playoffs. They both obviously have to keep winning. But that's
No,
he's
shout
the
out to
difference.
Von Miller. And Von Miller's too good of a player. No player as great as Von Miller should ever lose to a team 12 straight times. So I'm glad Von Miller, for the first time in 12 games, beat the Chiefs. 1-11 his last 12. We'll see if he can make it 2 in a row. But he was the best player on the field, Wilds.
I know. So
Well,
Yeah.
I cannot imagine how over the moon Buffalo Bills fans must be right now. In the last several years, since he's been in the league, Patrick Mahomes has been held up, and rightfully so, as the dream come true that can drop in any team's lap and change their fortunes of decades of mediocrity. Despite bursts of excitement and optimism, but for a 50-year period, the Kansas City Chiefs went from winning a Super Bowl early on in their careers and then trying to just damn win one playoff game, right? Despite having some successes. And Mahomes was held up as that guy, and the jewel who wins a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP and then a league MVP, and when will we see another? And every other team looking at that who had years and years and years of waiting and hoping, not getting that quarterback, despite the years of waiting and hoping. And it sure looked like the Buffalo Bills were going to be one of them. And they got, on the night of the draft in 2018, supposedly the third best quarterback, with the Browns taking Baker Mayfield first and then the Jets taking Sam Darnold second, and then sitting right there for the Bills to take. It was Josh Allen. And even that night, it was just like, okay, big kid, big strong arm, not accurate. Nobody really saw him play college. He's there in Wyoming, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody saw him play.
50% completion percentage, right?
What's he doing there? If he was so damn good and out of high school, why would he be going there playing his football there? You know, right? Now he's the king of the world. He is.
There's no doubt.
There's no question.
There's no doubt.
He is the paragon of who you're hoping for now.
Let me look up Paragon real quick.
He is the personification of who you're looking for. He is the standard of you are hoping on your football hope chest to get your Josh Allen. The guy who can beat you with his arm, beat you with his legs, beat you with his heart. And what he now has, and he had it before, and even if they lost yesterday, and the Chiefs had a chance to win this football game, as we all know. But what he has now, and we saw it yesterday in this game twice, is the air of invincibility and inevitability. Where it doesn't matter down distance. He's got the ability to come get you. And in the case of yesterday, at the end of each half, he went and did it. And the Chiefs defense came out balling. Man, is that Nick Bolton good or what? And that's the guy I choose to point out. I know that they've got guys up front like Chris Jones and Frank Clark, but that kid is really good at the linebacker spot. Really good. And they didn't even have a touchdown. And they're down 7-3, and there's a minute and change to go in the half, and he's standing in his own end zone. And normally you'd be like, okay, just don't turn it over. Don't make a mistake. Don't make it worse. Don't give the ball back to Mahomes, a good field position. He's going to come get you because that's what he does. And they just go 96 yards like it was nothing.
Like it was
96 yards.
just like cool.
96 yards in 7 plays. A $113 right before the half. Now, Harrison Butker kicked a 62-yarder because the Chiefs then went ahead and did to the Bills what they did to the Bills at the end of the game in the regulation last year's playoffs, which is take this minuscule amount of seconds and go and score. And that's what Mahomes does to you. And that's what normally messes with your head, too. Certainly if you're an Arrowhead and you've had your last 2 seasons end in Arrowhead. And sure enough, Mahomes takes the lead again on this Bills team. And then the Bills down 20-17. Allen puts together a 12-play, 76-yard touchdown drive in which you're thinking to yourself, because this is the normal, standard way that football fans think, because they don't usually have a quarterback as generationally brilliant as Josh Allen, and an offense suited with playmakers around him, and an offensive line that can protect him, even though sometimes he doesn't care about protecting himself. But, I mean, he normally, you would think, okay, just go kick a field goal. You'll tie the game. We'll have another overtime, right? But suddenly they keep moving the ball down the field and moving the ball down the field, and you're thinking, oh, my God, are they going to score a touchdown? And then he leaps over Justin Reed.
Yep.
How many Chiefs can this man hurdle? Answer 2. One last year, in a loss, by the way, in a regular season, and then one this year. Okay? Hey, touchdown. And then the Bills' defense, Taron Johnson makes a play because Leslie Frazier's defense is pretty damn freaking good, too. Even though they finally gave up more than 7 points in the second half. They'd only given up 7 points in the second half all the way through to this game, and you knew Mahomes was going to score on them. And they made a defensive play and made a winner out of the Bills. 24-20 is your final. Juju Smith-Schuster with his best game as a Chief, and Kelsey did his usual thing, didn't get in the end zone. Von Miller came up with a huge sack of Mahomes that led to that game-winning drive I told you about. Put it in the end zone. That's what you do. You put it in the end zone on the Chiefs when you have to. And this time they came up with a defensive stop to end the game. And now the Bills have that calling card in their back pocket. Chiefs are still the best team in the AFC West. There is no doubt about that in my mind, and can absolutely go into Buffalo in January and win that football game, as we all know. But it helps for the Bills to do that in Arrowhead yesterday in Week 6, and what this does is give Josh Allen that leg up on an MVP, chat.
Right? And every level, and you guys have known me, that every level has a star.
Okay.
I think Matt Milano is turning into a star in the NFL.
Turned.
And then, turned. And then obviously the addition of Von Miller. And then on the back end, you get Taron playing a robber and you get that interception at the end of the game. This is about closing. It's about pressure. It's also about tackling, right? That's what we talked about when the Kansas City Chiefs played the Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of missed tackles. Bills were sure tacklers in space. Milano made a huge play on Clyde Edwards-Helaire that I think would have went for 30. In the flats if he wouldn't have got him on the ground. We cannot talk about this game, all right, and focus on Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes with a score of 24-20 and not mention defense.
All about the defense.
That's what it was about.
Best defensive plan I've seen in years.
Yeah, Leslie was
By
in
the
his
Bills,
bag.
yeah.
It was unreal.
Yeah.
It was unreal.
The different looks was phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that. That was fun. Oh, wait, Mina, you get to go first. Sorry, I was moving ahead. I was going to offense.
that's okay.
Go ahead, Mina.
Thank you, MK.
No, I mean, Marcus, you gave me a great segue. I mean, earlier I was talking about Cliff Kingsbury and the Cardinals' offense being static. The Bills' defense is dynamic. He tailors his game plans week to week, and this was no exception. Coming into this game, the Bills they're primarily a zone team. They played man coverage on just 28% of dropbacks. This week, that bumps up to 54%. And it's something I think we're actually going to continue seeing against the Chiefs. We saw it with the Raiders game last week as well, because these wide receivers outside of Travis Kelce aren't really consistently beating man coverage. Now, last week against the Raiders, Patrick was perfect against man coverage, but the margin for error for him is so much smaller because of the talent that they have, the absence of Tyreek Hill.
Drill that happened at the end of the first half, and it almost came off the backs of an improbable third down and long conversion that only 2 guys in the league can make, that we just don't see in the league, right? Yep. Incredible by Josh. That went from a 7-3 game all of a sudden to 10-7, 10-10 at half, and it gave their offense, Buffalo, some life going into the second half.
It's hard to even choose between all the great numbers of Josh Allen yesterday, but he was 7 of 8 for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns on passes thrown 15 or more yards downfield yesterday.
That makes sense.
It's just fun to find these stats. We're just getting started.
In that moment, at that time, with all the pressure on him, there is no doubt this is Josh Allen. When they needed a big first down, it was Josh Allen that went and made that happen, or all that stuff on the defense would have been
Why are you
phenomenal.
shaking your head?
Because you guys are dead wrong.
Yeah.
And I love Josh Allen. Let me give you guys. So yesterday's score is 24-20, right? Buffalo won 24-20. They scored 24 against the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense this year has given up 21 to Arizona, who stinks. They gave up 24 to the Chargers, who have been very average, 17 to Indy, who can't block anybody on offense, 31 to Tampa Bay, who is very average right now, and 29 last week to the Raiders. So they really underperformed against the Chiefs defense that has been very average this year. If you take away that Chiefs offense and that Indy game, when I told everybody the Chiefs offense didn't show up, they've averaged 33 points a game. For us to sit here and say that only giving up 20 against that defense isn't the story of the football game is completely incorrect. This Chiefs defense has been average, and Buffalo, granted, took advantage of it, but this Buffalo defense shut down an offense that has scored 33 a game.
Great.
When they show
I
up.
didn't mean Micah Hyde. I meant Von Miller and Poyer and those boys.
Yeah.
Josh Allen was better in the playoff game last year in Kansas City than he was yesterday. And why didn't they win? Because their defense couldn't make the one stop it needed. And yesterday, they didn't make one. They made two in the fourth quarter. That's the difference in the game.
They made it without Tyreek Hill on the field.
But that's
the
not
whole
changing.
idea. That's the whole idea. But that's what I'm saying. That's the whole idea. You're saying give all this defense credit. I'm going to give the front office over at Kansas City some credit for letting Tyreek Hill go and helping that defense. But Josh Allen, nobody helped Josh Allen. You want to say, well, they put a rookie out there. You still got to make that throw in that pressure moment. And I'm not talking about some throws that somebody had to go up and take a 50-50 ball. These were perfect throws. He almost walked down there and handed that ball to Gabe Davis. It was a perfect throw. In that pressure situation, it's got to be.
Man, you should be ashamed of yourself, the absence of appreciation for a quarterback. I don't know what's wrong with you.
I literally said